All right. Thanks for clicking on the video, guys. I'm going to show you how to do all of this super quick. So I think the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to open this Word document really quickly. And I'm not going to just click on this rectangle. I'm going to go over to the right and I'm going to click those three buttons right there, the three dots. And I just want to open it in Word. It's just a little bit easier for me to edit this when it's in Word. Okay. So now that we have our Word document open, let's go back to our teams. I always press Alt Tab to go around. And let's read the directions. So let's open a web. Actually, if you just click the link, it'll open. That's kind of nice. There's a bunch of stuff you can do in here, so it looks a little bit busy. So one thing you can do is you can right click and you can toggle a lot of this stuff off. So you can show the axes or hide them. You can take the grid, and I like to just show the major grid lines. But there's some other options too. Maybe you like the dots. Ooh, that's kind of nice too. But I like to leave it at the major grid lines. All right. I'm not going to use. I actually have the app, so I'm just going to use that. It looks exactly the same, right? But I'm just going to use the app just because I have it on here. So let's go back to Teams and let's do what it see what it wants us to do. So it says we're going to open we're going to open the assignment, right? We already did that, and we're going to use Windows key plus Shift plus S to take a screenshot for each of the objects and paste them into the attached Word document. All right, so let me show you what I mean by that, right? I'm actually just going to show you using this, and then I'll kind of show you using the software as well really quickly, right? So I'm going to do, like it says, Windows key. I usually do that with my thumb. It's a bit of a twister. Windows key, Shift. Oh God, I messed this one up. Let's try that again. I messed that one up. Windows key, Shift, and S. There you go. And then you can click and drag, right? And the great thing about that tool is when I go to my Word document, I can just hit Control V and it'll paste it. I believe if I wanted to, I could also just paste. So I could right click and paste as well. So I could also right click and paste. But I like to use the hotkeys whenever I can. So the paste hotkey is Control V, right? So I'll actually add that hotkey to the directions, Control plus V, right? Cool. So what new? Let's go into Geogebra and let's actually try making one of the objects, right? So all of the stuff, I put a screen cap in the assignment. You're going to use stuff like the line, right, to make a line like so. So you just have to click 2 points, right? You even get a cool equation, which is pretty nice, right? It's pretty neat. And I can press Control Z to get rid of that if I like. But I don't want to take away all the fun. So like I said, you're going to be doing a line, a segment, and array. But why don't I make some fun stuff? Because I know how to use this, right? So I'm actually going to make a triangle. And there's all sorts of cool stuff. You can hide the labels, right? You can clean it up if you like. You can open the settings. You can color it differently. So maybe I just like a monochromatic theme, right? Oops. So that's the other thing about the software is it is a little finicky, right? So every time I click now it's trying to make another polygon, right? So if I want to like click and drag, I have to go back to the arrow and move it, right? Otherwise, if I have anything else, it'll start making stuff, right? So you got to be careful. So this is a triangle. There I go doing it again. So this is a triangle. Why don't I take a screenshot of that and paste it in. Right, so now it's pasted in. I can format this picture. I like to add a line around my objects if I can. So I like to make it look pretty. I can make it a little bit smaller. I can resize it. And I can even add insert, right? So go up top. I can even insert a little text box. And I can say triangle screenshot, right? I can make it look nice, and I'll just stick that on top somewhere like this, right? And now you have a really nice photo, right? So like I said, you're not going to be doing triangles, right? You're going to be sticking to the objects that I asked you to do in the assignment, right? So you're not going to be taking a screenshot of a triangle. You're going to be taking a screenshot of a line, a screenshot of a segment, and a screenshot of an array, okay? Again, it's super helpful to use the hotkey Control Z, and that can get rid of some of that stuff too. So sometimes you have to press it over and over again to get until it's done, right? So just a reminder, I'm not telling you to make a triangle, right? I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to use this menu, right? Where it says line, it gives you all this stuff with lines and stuff, right? And to give me a line, right? When you take your screenshot, make sure you include both points. Oops, sorry, let me go back to my Word document. So I Alt-Tab a lot. I don't know if you know this about me. All right. You can resize it. You can do the layout options. But like I said, I like to format my pictures a little bit. I think it just makes things look a little bit nicer. And once again, I'll show you another little tip. So I have this text box where it says triangle screenshot. In my layout options, I have it laying in front of everything, so it's on top of everything. It's not moving everything when I scooch it around. And if I hold Control and just drag it, well, then it copies that, and now I can just edit it, right? So instead of having to go and insert another text box, right, I can just take this one I already have and drag them around, right? So this is somewhat what yours is going to look like, except you actually don't need this one, right? Yours is going to be the line screenshot, and then you're going to have another screenshot for your segment, right? Your segment screenshot is going to go underneath it. Oops, sorry. Right? And then underneath that, your array screenshot is going to go underneath that. All right? So I gave you an example of how to do the line. And once again, I like to use Control V. Okay? Sorry. Clicking around a lot. All right, now let's go down and let's, hopefully this doesn't screw everything up. Let's find some space to write my small paragraph. So I'm going to hold Control, I'm going to press Enter, and that's just going to take me down a page. So the only reason that might screw some stuff up is if I was, let's say if I have some text here, and then if I press Control Enter, then it's going to take all that stuff down there, right? So let's not do that. Let me get rid of some of the stuff. So Control Enter. It is moving that. That's okay. I'll get rid of that for now. Okay, and now I have some space to write. So 3 to 4 sentences. This is where I will write 3 to 4 sentences describing the objects, right? Maybe the second line will be about the line. The third line can be about the segment. And also maybe I can squeeze information about array in the third sentence as well. Lastly, the fourth sentence can be about the differences between these objects. Right? Not too bad. No? Of course, you're going to be here in person with me, so if you're having any issues, sorry, I'm kind of getting lost myself. If you're having any issues with this assignment, please let me know. I actually also, if this was super easy for you, so if you're finished with this, see if you can construct a right triangle and using the tools provided in the software, reflect it across the y-axis. So reflections and triangles are some of the hardest parts. So it'd be cool if you can get familiar this early in the semester, right? They're some of the hardest stuff that we study, or at least students have the most trouble with the triangle congruence and reflections and things like that. It can get a little bit hairy. So if you get really comfortable with the software, it's a pretty good tool. Nothing in this is supposed to be ultra difficult. It's just meant to get you comfortable using this Geogebra, which my high school algebra teacher actually showed this to me. So I'm glad to be sharing it with you as well. I'll remember to put that hotkey for pasting it into the document. I'll be sure to put that in right here. But yeah, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and just please let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Okay? Thank you.